Bill.
Full-time basis to the week. Yeah, because I'd like to get, I'm gonna shoot on the video, but I really would get somebody back involved. I mean, for years, you guys tested me, John Skull. But yeah, I got a bunch of new, I'm just gonna. Is it like, would it have to be dedicated to some hours a week, or is it just it's unavailability? Oh, I know that. New England. No, I know that. We're quite a bit of it. Yeah. They don't call, we help out, but I mean, it'd be much better on my side if they knew the advance and then, you know, it's even more. A lot of the activities in the motion, the guys involved, you know, you know, they go out and themselves, they'll get places looking for people wanting to come to Nestle, so they'd be more than happy to help them.
They were
Yeah, I think
Next week, or I think if we're call each other and figure out, I'll get some more details, you know, in other words, I'll talk to my guys and figure out, and see what I have to do. Okay, who's running it now?
I see a lot of this. I've seen the last
Okay.
5 years. I've seen a lot of law firms taking like cybersecurity degrees and stuff like that and applying to federal agencies or even in the private sector as well.
Data scientists, technical positions. We've never done it before. What's the nature of technology? The criminal element.
That's the world we're in today.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what's interesting? You know that whole it's all strong crimes, stuff like that. People, I think, on the front is home, and they've never really seen it.
Yeah, they have no idea why
They-
we're right.
And but like, home?
Yeah.
And like, they, I think,
But it has to do with taking the because normally we've seen federal agencies.
Right.
That's us. People just don't see it.
Exactly. So
We're doing our count.
Let's get started.
Yeah, let me tell you.
That's good to hear.
Just that not even a tone caught their attention.
Yeah.
And they said, they do that? Yeah. And I agree with you. It's the but
It's funny you say that because we were going to do a hashtag. It was going to be a hashtag. We do that.
sure.
Because it, seized Maduro's drag from Venezuela. When I live in Prime Minister of Venezuela, full corruption. So it's interesting. I run, as I run all the branding for our headquarters, the branding initiative. So it's good to hear.
Well,
Glad we chatted.
That's fine. You've definitely targeted audience that generally speaking, right across the board. That's good.
We have some amazing agents too, which is just, you know, quiet professionals that do their job.
Sorry. Yep.
You should definitely follow up with that house out.
Yeah.
They're like,
I'll message to our folks in courts.
yeah, it's Guess what? This stuff. And I'm sure for the time too. You know, whatever. What was going on?
50 million for gas tonight.
Oh well. That was nice. She's uncontested for another 4 years. So,
Security.
yep. So I have things that I'm enjoying what I'm doing.
Is your 2-minute warning? 2-minute warning?
We don't want this to be busy. Everybody wants us to be good.
Yeah.
47.
Okay, you see. So you get time. You get a little spark.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, 25 years. 25 years at 50. So I got
Okay.
3 years to go, and then I'll retire. And then go to Providence after.
Oh.
I gotta be honest. My wife's asking.
I hear you on that.
Yeah. So I started my career at DE, especially in General Merrick Garland, 2002.
So your time still carries
Yes.
over 5 years.
Yeah, same series, same federal special agent positions carried among the top 10 large special agent positions within the federal government, which is good.
Nice. That's real nice.
It's a pretty good chance. Just doing drugs for 6 years was it.
Yeah.
Didn't do it for my whole career.
I don't know how I do that for the entirety of their careers. That's
You know it's time to do dope.
Big pork, right? I know exactly what you mean. You sit down. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome. I'm delighted to see all of you here today, and I am more delighted still to have the honor of welcoming the 86th Attorney General of the United States, the Honorable Merrick Garland, to the District of Rhode Island. Mr. Attorney General, the group that you see around the table here today is really reflective of the incredibly close and effective partnerships, federal, state, and local, that characterize our law enforcement work here in Rhode Island, with a relentless focus on what gets results rather than who gets credit. I am tremendously proud of the work that we have done in collaboration in so many critical areas relative to public safety. I think particularly about the use of federal law enforcement intelligence to drive prosecutions of fentanyl, which has had such devastating effects on the overdose crisis here in the Ocean State. The use of similar intelligence to combat gun crime, whether those cases are prosecuted on the state side or on the federal side, and our white-collar work to combat elder fraud, romance scams, things that actually touch the everyday lives of Rhode Islanders, as well as corporate crime that hopefully we change behavior both locally and across the country. We are geographically small, but we punch well above our weight because of these partnerships, and I'm proud of that. And to our law enforcement colleagues, let me say that these partnerships function effectively in no small part because of the support that we get from Washington. And we have been incredibly fortunate to have an Attorney General with an unrelenting focus on attacking the drivers of violent crime in this country and providing us with the resources locally that we need. And it truly is a great honor to welcome him to the district. Mr. Attorney General, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Zach. I'm very happy to be here. I'm looking forward to meeting with people around this table. These are the people who keep Rhode Island safe and whose agents and deputies, assistants take the risks every single day. And I could not be more grateful, and I could not be more grateful for the partnership that's reflected here. And I'm interested in seeing additional facts, learning more about how this is working out here. Also grateful to have a chance to recognize the terrific work of your office. This office is the face of the Justice Department in Rhode Island. When people in the state look to what the Justice Department is doing, they look to this office. And I have been consistently impressed with the work that the office does. That work and the work of our federal, state, and local law enforcement partners makes an enormous difference and has been protecting the people of Rhode Island. 3.5 years ago, the Justice Department launched an ambitious strategy to fight the sharp spike in violent crime that took place during the pandemic. We focused our efforts on the most powerful tool we have, which is reflected right here, our partnerships with federal, state, and local law enforcement. And then we fortified those partnerships with grants from our grant-making components and by bringing to bear the new technological tools we have that help us identify the principal drivers of violent crime, the repeat shooters, the crews and gangs that are causing the most mayhem in our communities. Today, we know that work is paying off. Statistics released by the FBI last week show an historic drop in homicides last year and one of the lowest levels of violent crime in 50 years. And statistics released by the FBI this week show that that trend is continuing. This update shows that violent crime has continued to decline considerably in the first half of 2024 compared to the same time last year, including a further 10% drop in violent crime and a 22% drop in murder. But we know that progress in many communities is still uneven, and of course, there is no level of violent crime that is acceptable. That's why the Justice Department is continuing to work with our partners here in Rhode Island to continue our fight against violent crime, disrupt drug trafficking and violent firearms traffickers, and keep communities in this state safe. For this office, just 2 weeks ago, that meant announcing a partnership with ATF, the cities of Pawtucket, Central Falls, and Woonsocket to use federal authorities to prosecute domestic abusers for gun crimes and to keep firearms out of their hands. In July, this office partnered with the FBI, the ATF, the Department's National Security Division, 4 other U.S. Attorney's offices, the Naval Criminal Investigative Service, and Department of Homeland Security to secure the sentence of 3 men. Those men conspired, prepared, and trained to attack America's power grid to advance their white supremacist aims. That same month, this office worked with the U.S. Postal Inspection Service and members of the Rhode Island High-Intensity Drug Trafficking Area Task Force to secure a 10-year sentence for a co-leader of a drug trafficking organization that imported more than 100 kilograms of cocaine into Rhode Island. In June, this office charged 2 individuals in a murder-for-hire conspiracy targeting 2 federal prosecutors and a federal witness. No prosecutor should ever fear violence for doing his or her job, and no witness should ever fear violence for telling the truth. The Justice Department will prosecute these disturbing crimes whenever and wherever they occur. Earlier this spring, working with the Rhode Island Drug Task Force, comprised of 11 federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies, this office secured a 10-year sentence for a man who led a fentanyl trafficking conspiracy that possessed and distributed enough fentanyl to create more than 2 million fatal doses. And earlier this year, this office worked with ATF, the North Providence Police Department, and the Rhode Island State Fire Marshal's Office to charge a man who allegedly set multiple fires around the exterior of the Shiloh Gospel Temple, a predominantly black church. We are grateful to the North Providence Police Department, whose swift action prevented catastrophic damage to the church. In addition to using our investigative and prosecutorial capabilities, we are also committed to using our grant-making capabilities to invest in public safety. So far this year, the department has awarded more than $23 million in grants to Rhode Island. These funds will help law enforcement agencies in Rhode Island hire more officers, prevent and combat violent crime and drug trafficking, and improve services for survivors of domestic and dating violence, sexual assault, stalking, and other crimes. We remain committed to providing our law enforcement and community partners with the resources they need to protect their communities. These examples I've shared are just a glimpse of the extraordinary work that your office has done every day to protect people in Rhode Island, to fulfill the Justice Department's mission to ensure the rule of law, to keep our communities safe, and to protect civil rights. Just recently, the latter included the department's efforts to monitor compliance with federal voting rights laws in Pawtucket. Last month, thanks to the work of this office and the Civil Rights Division, we announced that federal observers would be assigned to monitor the September 10th primary in Pawtucket for compliance with the Voting Rights Act. This comes after a federal court approved a consent decree earlier this year to resolve the department's Voting Rights Act claims regarding the availability of election assistance and materials in Spanish for Spanish-speaking voters with limited English proficiency. In the weeks ahead, the department will release additional information about efforts to monitor for compliance with federal civil rights laws in elections in communities across the country. Additionally, guidance documents and other voting resources are available on the Justice Department's website to explain your right to vote. The right to vote is the cornerstone of our democracy. It is the right from which all other rights derive. There are many things up for debate in the United States. One of them is not the right to vote. That right must not be up for debate. The Justice Department will never stop working to ensure that every eligible voter can cast a ballot that counts. I'm very proud of the public servants who make up this office for the work that they do every single day to protect the rule of law, to keep our country safe, and to protect civil rights. And I am equally proud of the relationships that they've developed with the people around this table. Those partnerships are the essence of the way in which we keep our communities safe. Thank you all very much, and I look forward to beginning our meeting. Thank you.
That concludes the open press portion, so press can pack up their gear and exit to the left. We'll begin our meeting. Thank you.